Welcome to Dude on Air, the show giving you the latest and best of Hollywood. We're talking movies, TV, and everything in between. Here's your host, Gerald Yelverton. Lights, camera, action. Hey guys, welcome to Dude on Air, the show that talks about movies, life, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gerald Yelverton, and today we're talking about movies because we are breaking down the sci-fi adventure Interstellar. Interstellar is about a team of explorers that travel through a wormhole in an attempt to find a potentially habitable planet that will sustain humanity. It's brought to us by Christopher Nolan, written by himself and his brother Jonathan Nolan. It stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Mackenzie Floyd, Ellen Bernstein, John Lithgow, David Oyelowo, and a host of others, including William Devane and Michael Caine and Casey Affleck, Topher Grace, and Matt Damon. It's a stacked cast. So this movie, it takes place like in the future, and like the Earth has been through a bunch of dust storms, and the Earth is like dying, and humanity only has so much time left. And it stars Matthew McConaughey, who plays this guy Cooper, who I guess was like an astronaut or a pilot, and he's long since like gone off and became like a farmer. He has a daughter who's played by Mackenzie Foy. He also has a son, and there's like all these weird things going on in their house where his daughter Murph thinks that she has like a ghost in the house, and there's all these like signs and stuff. So it kind of starts off like the movie Signs, and Matthew McConaughey's trying to like figure it out. And then one day he figures out like the code, and he goes off to like find a thing, and then he stumbles upon like NASA, which has long been, kind of put to rest. But then you find out that NASA has this like really big plan to go off and try to find other planets that humans can live on, just because they don't have enough time on Earth, and they have to go to shoot through the stars, find a new planet to do this. So it's very intense. It's very complex. But so at NASA, he meets Anne Hathaway and Michael Caine, and they blast off into space because now, like, they need Matthew McConaughey, but they didn't like ever go search for him. But he just stumbles upon it, like, hey, can you go into space and save humanity? So he does, kind of like Bruce Willis in Armageddon, and then that's where it starts off. But here's what happens is like Christopher Nolan uses time, the time element. So he's going to blast off into space. They're going to go try to find another planet, and they're going to like dip through like wormholes to get to the other galaxies and things like that. But every time that they're the amount of time that they're away, it equals days and hours and like maybe like weeks or so for the astronauts. But that time away is years here on Earth. So he wants to get away and come back as fast as possible. That way he can get back to his kids. But as he's gone, his kids are aging, and now Mackenzie Foy, who was 10 years old, is now Jessica Chastain, who's a grown woman. His son is now Casey Affleck, who's a grown man. And it kind of goes through their dynamic. And Matthew McConaughey, and the astronauts thought to have been lost, but they're still on their mission. They can't contact NASA. It's radio silent. Years are going on. Humanity is now in peril. And the whole time, Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway are trying to find their way back to Earth. And it's this is a good movie. Despite it's a good movie. Like seeing it's visually stunning, seeing them go through all these different planets and kind of learning about wormholes and holes and things like that. And then, they find out that there's the whole thing is like a big lie, and they never plan to come back. They don't plan to save humanity. The plan is actually to start another colony on different planets and inhabit different planets with all these like cells and things like that. It's good. I recommend everyone see it. I didn't see it in IMAX 3D, which I guess would be stunning. I saw it in a regular theater, on a regular screen, and it was visually stunning enough. The acting is great. I mean, Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain. I mean, that's locked. And John Lithgow and Matt Damon makes an appearance later on as like another astronaut who's been sent to this planet, and now he's like in a hypersleep. That's the thing. Once they get out into space, they go into these hypersleeps until they reach their next destination. That way, it's very quick for them, and they're not spending, days and years, aging. And that's a cool thing. Like, they go down to, so Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Wes Bentley, and David Giassi are the astronauts that go into space. They go into space, and they drop down to go to these planets. But when they drop down, they're only down there for a matter of hours. But each hour may equal 5-10 years that they're away. And on their first planet one of the planets that they get to, they drop down, and one of the astronauts dies, and Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey, it's like the whole planet's like water. It's like ocean. There's waves coming from both sides, and they're down there longer than they need to be. And when they get back, their astronaut buddy has aged, and now he's like old, and it's crazy. And now they keep sending like these video messages back to Earth, and then Earth can send video messages here, and then when they come back onto the space station, they realize that so much time has passed, and they see like their friends and their family aging, and it's really, really interesting. Towards the end, they eventually get back, and Matthew McConaughey gets back to Earth, and then he finds out, like, he enters this wormhole, and then he becomes like the ghost that his daughter saw when he was young and stuff like that. And then by the time he gets back to Earth, his daughter is like an old woman who has kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and he's still the same age. They break the code. They get back. She tells him that she was a ghost, but she's dying, and now he goes off into space to find Anne Hathaway on this other planet. And you find out that it was all like a big conspiracy and stuff like that, and people are now living in space stations, and it's cool. So I sat through it once. This is a movie that I recommend everyone see just for seeing it. But I would not watch this movie again. Not saying that it's bad. It's a lot to intake. It's 2 hours, 49 minutes. It's intense. And this is a movie that's going to be compared to Gravity last year because it's all about space and travel and being lost in space. Though it's a totally, totally different story. But those comparisons are going to be made. Christopher Nolan, who's like one of the hottest directors right now, I'm a fan of Christopher Nolan, and I see his movies, but I would have to say, just in my opinion, like just from my take on it, like a lot of his movies are really good. They're kind of deep, but especially the movies that he directs. Like, I see a lot of his movies once, and I don't ever want to see him again. Interstellar, like I said, I saw this movie. I'm probably not going to see it again, unless it's like on DVD or something like that, which I don't even know yet. Maybe I'll watch it if somebody who hasn't seen it wants to see it. We'll pop it in. But it's a lot to go through. It's like a lot to get your mind into. And like, I want to get to a movie a lot of times, and like I want to sit down and I want to go on a ride or something. But like, there's so much stuff that you have to intake to get through this. Like, it's not service. Like, one of my favorite space movies is Armageddon. It's not the best made movie, but it's a ride. Like, if it's on TV, I can sit down for my 90 minutes. I can understand the story. I can get through it. Then at the end, I'm done. I thought Gravity was the same way, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot going on, but you set up the rules and you get through it, and then you're on the ride. This movie, I mean, the scientists, the astronauts are throwing out a lot of words. There's a lot to get into. If you're not into wormholes beforehand, they kind of tell you how it works, but like, you need the extra information. And then like, this is a movie where once you see it once, you got to go back and see it again to see the things that you lost and to make the comparisons. And it's just like a job. It is. Some people, though, they like those type of movies, and that's cool. Me, I kind of want a lighter tone. So like, Interstellar was like that. Inception is like that. The Prestige was like that. I never saw Insomnia or Memento, but like those are the movies that I've seen once, and then like I'd have to go back and see them again to really fully understand it. But I don't want to go on that journey again. And then like the only movies that I've seen multiple times are like, the Batman, the Dark Knight movies, Man of Steel, which he was a producer on and stuff. But yeah, it's just it's a lot to take. But I definitely recommend it. I would give this maybe like 3 out of 5 stars. You should definitely see it because you should form your own opinion. And once you do that, go ahead, comment below. That way I'll know exactly, what you thought. And maybe you can explain something that maybe I didn't get, or there's like a point that I didn't hit on. But there's just so much to dissect in this movie that like you would have to see this multiple times to really talk about it, or talk about it with someone else. That way you can kind of get the best. But like I said, the cast is awesome. Matthew McConaughey does a great job. Anne Hathaway is good. Jessica Chastain does a good job. Mackenzie Foy, who you remember was she was the daughter in Twilight. Renesmee. She was the half mortal, half vampire daughter. She's good. And she was also in that horror movie that came out. What was that horror movie that came out? It was really, really good. The Conjuring. She was one of the daughters in The Conjuring. She's a really talented actress. And then she grows up to become Jessica Chastain. So she grows up and she's one of the best actresses going today. Ellen Bernstein plays the oldest version of Murph when Matthew McConaughey finally does make it back to his family, and Ellen Bernstein has gone on. Murph has gone on to kind of like save humanity by relaying the messages that Matthew McConaughey was saying. John Lithgow plays Matthew McConaughey's father, and like so he finds out that he dies when he's out at space. David Oyelowo, who just played Martin Luther King, a really good actor, plays a school principal. Then you get to like NASA and you meet Wes Bentley, William Devane, Michael Caine, David Giassi. It's a really, really good cast. Topher Grace is around. Matt Damon is there. It's a good cast, so it's worth seeing. And the cast is not that large. There's not that many people in the film because most of it's on a space station or on these desolate planets where there's only like one person. But yeah, that is Inception. I expect this to be nominated for quite a few awards. Maybe in the technical side, like Gravity was. Best Original Score, it's already nominated for in the Golden Globes. The score is good. Christopher Nolan normally works with some pretty good people as far as score goes. But yeah, tell me what you think. Comment. Let me know. Also, hit that subscribe button. You can hit it in YouTube. You can hit it in iTunes, Stitcher Radio. That way you know exactly when our show drops, when the episodes drop, as we get into movie reviews, trailer reviews, award seasons coverage, interviews, just talking about a lot of things that are coming up. We'll be talking about a lot of things that are going on in the news, things like that, just stuff that's all dude and dudette related. So yeah, go ahead and do that. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Gerald Yelverton, just like it says. And yeah, man, guys, thank you for listening. And until next time, thanks for being awesome.
You've been listening to Dude on Air. For more talk on movies, TV, and everything in between, hit the subscribe button, available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. For Gerald and the Dude on Air crew, thanks for being awesome.